Today's session is about manufacturing without, we'll say, money. Presenter today is Alexis Castiel from the Diggers Factory. Unfortunately, we're having a little bit of a technical problem with Alexis's video, but the presentation's working, so you might see a little bit more of me than him, but hopefully we can fix that before the end of the session. So I'm going to turn it over to Alexis.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Alexis. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Diggers Factory. I'm French. I live in Paris, and I started my company 5 years ago now. So today we're here to talk about vinyl and how to make vinyl without spending any money. Key question for a lot of labels and artists around the world. People want to produce vinyl, and we see that on the market. Vinyl records projected to outsell CDs for the first time. It's historic, CDs is going down and vinyl is going up. We have more and more sales around the world because people like the product, people like the vinyl. It's a beautiful product and it's history, with it. So it's really great. For the artists and the labels, because it's also a new way to make some money. But with all these good figures about the market, there is also still issues with the market. With when it comes to producing vinyl, it's always expensive. I work with a lot of factories around the world, and I know the prices, and I know it's expensive for a lot of artists and labels, especially when you start your career. Second problem is that there is no tool to forecast the demand. So most of the labels will produce like 500 or 1,000 records, and after that they sell only 100. So they have some stock, overproduction. It's a loss of money, and it's not good for the people. It's not good for the label. And most of the time when they do that one time, two times, after that they stop to do vinyl because it's too expensive for them and they lose too much money. Thirdly, it's a fragmented market. So there are a lot of actors on the market, a lot of plants, a lot of distributors, a lot of mastering studios, etc. So yeah, it's a bit complicated for artists and labels to know the good partners. I know a lot of clients, a lot of people who say to me like, I tried with this factory and the vinyl was not good, so I stopped to do vinyl. It's too complicated for me. I don't want to spend any money in this. So okay, I understand this issue. And there's two more issues. The minimum to produce. Most of the factories ask to produce minimum 300 or 500 records, which is a lot. A lot of artists and labels have small communities and just want to produce 50 or 100. It's complicated for a lot of factories to do that because the cost per unit is expensive. And finally, another classic issue is to find a distributor. It's really difficult for artists and labels, and sometimes you can be a bit disappointed by your distributor, and if you want to work with a distributor, most of the time you need to produce 500 records or you won't win any money and you will lose money. So after all this issue, we thought about a solution, and we're not the only one on the market, obviously, but we thought about a solution that could solve all this issue. And the solution is the vinyl on demand. Okay, so it's a pre-order service that allow you to produce your vinyl without any money. How does that work? It's really simple. Okay, so you create your project, so your album on the website. You choose the artwork, etc. You choose how many records you want to produce, an objective of producing. So it could be 100, it could be 300, 500. It depends on you and your community. You do the pre-orders, so you fix the price. You do the pre-orders from your community, but also the community of the website. Then if you have enough pre-orders, so if you reach the objective of pre-orders you fix at the beginning, you can go into production. So thanks to the pre-orders, you have the money to fund the pressing. which is really, really great because you don't have to spend any money. You use the money from the fans, and that's a game changer. You don't have any upfront cost, and you can exactly produce what the people want. So if you had an objective of 100 records and you have 152 pre-orders, you can produce 152 records. If you have not reached the objective of pre-orders, we can also cancel the project and say, okay, guys, we tried. There is no enough demand, and that's okay. If people don't want this vinyl, if it's not the community is not answer well about this project, okay, don't do it. You will lose money if you do it. So it's a good tool, to forecast the demand and know the demand. If there is no demand, you have to cancel it. And then after that, there is the delivery. So we deliver the recalls to the people. This is the solution in details. I will not read everything, but the idea is really about a tailor-made project. So we can do everything you want, like all vinyl type, vinyl weight, cutting, color, etc. Everything. This is great because I think the vinyl industry is making great progress in terms of product and how we can produce the record. We can start at 50 copies, which is really great also for a lot of young artists and young labels. 50 copies. Most of the people won't do it, but with the Diggers Factory, you can do it. So you can choose the compact duration between 20 and 60 days. You can have a lot of partners. So the idea of Diggers Factory is it's not the crowdfunding, it's a pre-order service, and we have like a lot of partners around that. So when you have the money, thanks to the pre-orders, you can use this money to pay the pressing, the mastering, the shipping to the people, and work with distributors thanks to our network. This is really important because at the end, the main goal of the Diggers Factory and solution like ours is to avoid the risk, is to avoid you as an artist or a label to pay something that you won't sell. If there is a demand, you have the money before and you don't have to spend any money. If it doesn't sell, you don't do it, you don't produce it, so you don't spend any money in any case. We have to know that the artist remains the sole owner of his work. It's really important. We are just an intermediary, so we have to help the artist. We have to advise the artist. We have to give him advices, but we're not here to take his work. We're here to help the artist focus on what he knows the best. Making music and sharing his passion about music, and we can do all the rest. Like the mastering, the pressing, etc., which is a bit complicated for people that don't know this market, these services. And we take a commission of 25% on the sales, which is less than a classic distributor. Most of the distributors takes like 30, 35, even 40% sometimes. So with this solution of vinyl on demand, we solve the issues. The first one, the expensive pressing, there is no upfront cost because the fans pay for the pressing. No tool to forecast the demand. We have a solution that produces on demand, so we know exactly the demand. Fragmented markets, we have selected partners, like the best partners, the best factories, the best studios, etc., etc. Minimum to produce is 50, so we don't have the issue about the 300 records. And for the distribution, you have a direct distribution service, so like record shops and distributors can directly buy the records on the Diggers Factory with wholesale prices. And we also have like bigger distributors for bigger projects to sell, like in Japan, in the US, etc., etc. We have a worldwide distribution network. So you have to remember that at the end you don't have to spend any money, and this is how the industry must change. I think it's time for a change. It's not about Diggers Factory, it's about the industry. It's about thinking the other way. We can produce records in another way, in a more intelligent way, I think, because we produce only if people want the records. You know, like me, that the records is not really ecological. So if you have some stock, if you have some records that you will take to garbage, it's not worth it, you know. I heard this story about Universal a few years ago, who destroyed 300,000 records unsold because it was too expensive to stock them. You know, it's I don't understand that. Today we have tools, we have internet, we have new way to produce, and we have new way to use these tools to understand the market and understand how we can change, you know, how we can produce differently. I think it's done. If you have any question, obviously I'm here.
Alexis, you mentioned that you could have a campaign set up for 30 to 60 days. But could I then, we'll say, set that up for 60 days and then imagine to have my materials after 60 days? Or is it, how long is the process before the campaign is over and I'll actually receive my records?
So you start the project, you have between 30 and 60 days to do the pre-orders. So you need to have the artwork and the tracks to upload on the website, so the fans and the people can listen to the music and see the artwork. So most of the time we are doing the mastering and the final artwork during the pre-orders. Okay, so at the end of the pre-orders, so at the end of the 30 or 60 days, we launch the production. The pressing is about 8 weeks. So at the end of the 8 weeks, we send the records to our logistic company in France, and we have another one in the US. And at the end, the people are delivered from thanks to the gas factory.
I see.
Okay, so like the full process is about 4 months.
It's about 4 months then from start to finish. So
yeah,
you really have to have that in your planning then. If you're, well, I know the times are different than maybe what they were in January, but certainly, you know, you have to kind of keep that in the back of your mind that the schedule will be about 4 months from start to finish.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right.
We have some question. So how do you ensure the quality of the pressing? Do you give test pressing for review notes? Yeah, of course. We do test pressing. Each time we produce a record, we do test pressing. So it's 5 test pressing that we send to the artist or the label, and we wait for the validation. And then if they validate the test pressing, we launch the pressing. Okay.
Yep.
The second question, as these late cuts or press similar to mass produced releases? We can do different things. So we can do lead cutting, we can do DMM, and as an artist, you can choose what you want. You can even do the cutting in your own studio if you want, and send the lights to the factory. So you are free to do everything you want about that. If you need advice on this, obviously we're here, but you have to understand that Digger's factory is working with 10 factories worldwide. So we have all the options in the world that can exist. We can do it for you.
Now, that was going to be one of my questions, if you were just pressing in Europe and then sending to the United States, but it sounds like you have a global footprint and using different facilities.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also difficult to understand that, but the factories in the US are really expensive. We have way more, we have way better prices in Europe. So sometimes artists decide to produce in Europe and send the records to the US, even if, yes, it's not very ecological, I agree. But again, the final decision is always in the hand of the artists and the labels.
Okay. Let's see, we have another question here. Thanks, Brian. This question will the PDF be? Yes, this session's being recorded. So you can watch it again. We'll say upload this, we'll say within the next few days. And Alexis, if you supply us the PDF, then we can also supply this to the people in the audience as well.
Yeah, of course. And you have my contact here, if you can see it. Yeah, so you can obviously send me an email or phone call me, and I will answer all the questions.
Yeah. All right. We have some more questions that are coming in. One coming in from Larry. In this economy, is it a leap of faith that the fans will pay that far in advance for a record? It seems like crowdfunding.
It's not like crowdfunding, you know. We're not asking people money like, okay, help me about with my record. It's not that. It's the pre-order system. It's the vinyl on demand. We produce if people want the record. So I understand the question, because I had these thoughts also, of course. And yes, some fans don't want to wait 3 months or 4 months. I understand that. But honestly, we produce thousands of records with artists from all around the world, and it's working, you know. So the main goal of the artist is to communicate to his community. If you have a nice communication with your community and your community is answers well, it will work. But it's not really about waiting, you know. Like, people can wait if they like you, if they like the project, if they like the music, they will wait.
Mm-hmm. And I guess this is a good follow-up question that came in from Jeff. You know, what if you're pressing 50 units? What can your fans expect to pay? What would be a per unit cost on average?
For the 50 units is really expensive, so we don't do it a lot. 100 is really more interesting, but like 50 units is, it's about like, I think 17 euros, something like that, our cost per unit. So for the fans, the record will be between 25 and 30 euros, which is still reasonable, I think. But if you do 100 records, it's less. So it's like 10 or 11 euros the cost. So you can sell the records at like 20 euros and make some money with it, which is like impossible in a distribution network, a classic distribution network. If you do 100 records, you will lose money for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you do a 4 songs? Yeah, of course. We can do everything you want, you know. So we can do a 12-inch, we can do a 33 or 45 RPM. We can do everything you want. So yeah, of course, we can do a 4 song and at 33. This is very interesting. What will be the sale price be the fans? So as I said, the sale price is what you decide. So when you create your project on Diggers Factory, you have a simulator of cost and profits. Okay, so you choose the options you want. You choose, like, if you want 300 records, you choose if you want colored vinyl, if you want a black cover, etc., etc. You have a lot of options, and at the end, the simulator will tell you, okay, the cost will be, I take an example, 1,000 euros. Okay, you produce 100 records for 1,000 euros, so the cost by unit is 10 euros. So you need to sell the record at least like 14 euros to cover the cost and the commission of the gas factory, because you have to pay the 25% of commission. So let's say you sell the record at 20 euros. 20 euros, we take 5 euros on this. You have 15 euros for you, and this around 10 or 11 euros will go into production. So it means like between 3 and 4 euros for you per vinyl, and you don't have to spend any money on this. So you can only make money, which is really interesting. And so 11 euros is paid through. Is the price for the artist, so that's the cost per unit. But it depends. If you do 500 records, the cost by unit is well less. It's like 500 records. The cost by unit is like 5 euros. So it depends on the quantity. The quantity is everything. The most important is to understand your community and understand the objective of pre-orders. It's the most important thing. but we are here to help you on that. We are
So,
here to understand the community you have, and we will say, okay, with your community, we think that you have to have an objective of 100, or okay, you have thousands and thousands of fans who follow you. Okay, you have to have an objective of 500. Okay.
let me ask you a question, Alexis. What has the business been like for you now during times of COVID compared to where you were, let's say maybe in December or January of last year? How much has that business for you changed?
It changed for good for us because obviously artists and labels need money right now because all the gigs are canceled. So they seek for other way to make money. And Diggers Factory is a risk-free way to make money, and make vinyl. So both are pretty interesting. So yeah, we sell more records than any time. It's really a good time for the Ghost Factory and for the community, because which is really interesting also is that the Ghost Factory is about community. It's about people who like vinyl. So a lot of people are coming on the Ghost Factory for like a project of an artist they like. They saw a link on Facebook and say, okay, I will check and buy a record. But after that, 1 week after, they heard about another project on Diggers Factory, an artist they don't even know. And they say, okay, I like this artist. And we have people that buy 10 or 20 records per month on Diggers Factory because they like the idea of help the artist, but also participating in a different way to make vinyl. And we have a really strong community, and it is really great. So it's also a new way for you to find new fans, new customers.
I, and I noticed on your website too that not only are you offering, of course, the music to the artists so that they can sell it, but you're also putting together collections in some type of subscription service. Did I
Yeah,
understand that correctly?
yeah, it's a different service. It's a subscription of vinyl, like Vinyl Me Please in the
Hmm.
US. It's a bit the same, but yeah, I don't think it will be really interesting for the people right now. But yeah, it's like a classic. You every month you receive a selection of 6 records, and you can choose the one you prefer, and we send you these records to you.
Oh, okay. So you're very omni-channel in the way that you're working right now.
Yeah, and this service is really interesting too, because like if we have a lot of subscribers in the box, we can produce and we can finance a project from independent artists. So now we have artists that come on the Gas Factory and we love the project, and I contact the artist and say, okay, I love your project. I will take like 20 or 50 or 60 records just for the subscription service, for the people in the subscription service. So it's also a new way to found the project of the artist we like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm sorry to take away from some of the questions in the question box, but another question comes into my mind too. What about other type of fan merchandise? Can you, we'll say, connect it with, we'll say, T-shirts, and what about like, for example, other forms of physical media like CD, for example?
We decide to stay on vinyl because we are in the team. We are all passionate about vinyl, and we are not here to sell T-shirt because there are a lot of websites that can sell T-shirts. We are quite unique. We are not a lot of businesses do what we do. Uh, so yeah, we are really focused on vinyl and create a service for artists. And if they want to do T-shirts, yeah, there are a lot of services on the internet to do that. So it's about vinyl. It's a community of vinyl lovers.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
don't want to do CDs, we don't want to do T-shirts. We really do only vinyl.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, and we appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, most of the people that we're working with or following us are big vinyl fans. So what you're doing is very interesting, and as you said, it's something different to what maybe other companies are doing right now. We're running out of time, but I want to just make sure that we've gone through all of the questions here. Do you see something that we haven't?
So do you have any release pricing that you've done that you can recommend? You can go on Digas Factory. We have a lot of releases. We did like a 7 with a record sort of different thing. We do jazz, hip hop, rock, electronic music. We have really different style of music. So just go on the website and check the different releases.
Okay.
And I'm not sure I understand quite the question of Dan. How do their clients participate in their subscription service also?
Yeah, I don't think I understand it 100% either. How do you?
Yeah,
I think you might have answered that actually when you were saying in the subscription service. So maybe what Dan's asking here is that how do you pick the ones that go into the subscription?
it's the staff, you know, people in the team. So we this week we like this project and say, okay, we want to add this in the box, and that's it. You know, we just choose the project we like.
All right. If an artist wanted to purchase quantity of copies to sell later on, could we pay a premium for a faster turnaround time?
It's a bit difficult because the factories have too many comments, so it's a bit difficult. But yes, you can call us and we can just produce the records and send it to you. We call that the direct pressing service. So we can do it obviously, but you won't have a really better turnaround. It's really difficult to have a better one. So it's sometimes it's like 5 weeks or 6 weeks, but most of the time it's like 7 or 8 weeks for the pressing.
And then a question from William, do you verify copyrights or have the artist sign off that they own the copyrights, the material that they upload?
We do both most of the time, but we ask obviously to the artist to sing a copyright information, like that say that they are fully in the rights of doing this record. But sometimes when we have doubts, we try to see if we can reach someone that can own the rights and understand if we can do this vinyl, because we already have some issue with that. So now we're trying to really do that really good and ask some lawyers and stuff if we can do that.
Let's see what we have here. If you have a little bit community and you decide to produce your own vinyl, maybe 300, does that process work?
300 is maybe too much for a little community. 100 is good, you know, 100 is really, really nice, but obviously we can do more. You have also to understand that for some project, when we see there is really a really good answer from the community, we can also do B2B sales. So we contact distributors in our network, we contact record shops in the network also, and we can say, okay, we have like 200 pre-orders like from fans on the gas factory. Okay, this is a good project. Now we will ask distributors. The distributors say, okay, I would take 200, so we produce for 400. So we can do that also. So even for young artists, we sometimes do it. It depends really on the community. But yeah, you can do 300 if you want. You know, if you had 100 pre-orders and you want some stock for you, you can do it also. So you can have some personal stock for your gigs and stuff. So there is no problem to that. So yeah.
All right. And yeah, one more question from Spencer, and I think we'll wrap it up there. Can you produce a couple songs on each 45 side?
Yeah, but 45 is really short in terms of space. So it's about the duration of the tracks. you won't have a lot of space. But you can go on our blog on Diggers Factory. We have an article that talk about the duration of the tracks for 33 and 45, etc. And it's also different if you do a 70 inches, 12 inches, etc., etc. So you have all the information in the article in the blog.
Great, great, great. Well, Alexis, thanks again.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for listening to me.